Welcome to another episode of the LANCESCURV show, the Anthill Chronicles. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to have to say it because many who I grew up with are in that tradition. Happy New Year. But why I don't really look to this thing called Happy New Year? What does it mean? What does it do? What is it supposed to mean? Let me tell you. The bottom line is that too many of us get caught up in these slogans. Too many of us get caught up in these artificial measurements of engineered time. That thing called time that really, to me, doesn't exist. It exists here on this level, on this plane, but on the higher spiritual planes, ain't nobody keeping time. Many of us lose out on really fulfilling what we call potential. But really for me are the seeds of greatness that all have a chance to come to fruition. That being said, we focus on this artificial time, but we don't understand that, and this is the way I look at it, every single day of your life is the first day of a new beginning in your life. So to break it down on Happy New Year terms, every day of your life is the first day of your new year. We procrastinate when we are in this so-called holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it may be. We really procrastinate and we say to ourselves, well, I'm going to eat this food now. I'm going to eat this Thanksgiving food now. I know I shouldn't be eating all of this meat and this pork or drinking all of this liquor or staying up late and not getting any sleep because I'm partying. But when the new year starts, everything's going to change. And we put so much weight on this day called January 1st. Now, if you are on the East Coast of the United States, which is where I focus most of my timing with my shows on, unless they happen to be little short snippets of video, you know, it's going to be just after 7 o'clock right now, 7 a.m. And we probably won't have many people here. Maybe we will, because I know that many will stay up late at night to watch that ball drop at midnight and hang out with their friends, which I am not. I'm not against that, right? Even in the so-called holiday season, it gives you an opportunity because of work schedules and just how the world is going to spend more time with your family. I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all, which we should try to do that most of the time anyway. We shouldn't have to wait for the so-called holiday season, because it's a miracle when you really look at it and see the different variables of what can happen. Not to be a doomsayer, but our bodies, the systems of our body, how delicate it may be that we woke up and we were breathing this morning. We woke up and we had our brain functioning, that we didn't fall off the side of the bed and our head hit something very sharp and we never came back to consciousness and just transitioned. Not to be a doomsayer, but we need to appreciate every single moment that we have. We shouldn't have to wait for this artificially projected new start, which is just another day. And we have 365 days in what they call a year, and we have cause to celebrate every time we wake up. But most of the year, we take it for granted. We get up, okay, normal, heading on to work, doing some work around the house, hanging out with your friends, and you don't know how many people are up in the hospital right now because of a mishap. We don't know how many people don't realize that this may be their last so-called year or Happy New Year to celebrate. I'm not trying to be a person who's negative. I'm just saying appreciate the time that you have. Appreciate what you have in your hand. Too many of us, again, are focused in on the past or the future, but never in the present. If you're focused in on the present, in this moment that you have now, in these moments that you have now, and you know that, well, I must do something in this present to make my future, immediate future, and distant future better. All the times I've been coming out here doing the Anthill Chronicles, there's a house being built over there, and it's taking some time. They're doing it right, but it's moving pretty fast. But they can't start out with the roof in the very beginning. They have to put the foundation and the walls up. They can't hang the windows and walls that don't exist. So it's a process. It's a plan. and you work that plan, you perfect that plan, you will run into obstacles. This particular year, since we're going to play the Happy New Year game, this particular year, say to yourself, where am I going to find myself next month? On February 1st, March 1st, April 1st, where am I going to find myself for the new week, right? Where am I going to find myself for the new day? Most of us have or spend our so-called Happy New Year recuperating from all the things we did in the prior year, which is not a good start at all. Because if this is supposed to be a separate part of time, that shouldn't creep over, that hangover shouldn't creep over, that belly full of bad food shouldn't creep over, and you're walking around with it in the new year. So if you took every day as it is, one at a time, and made it a new start, you'll be so much better off instead of waiting for a whole year. Well, in the next year, we're going to do so and so. So last night was last year. This morning is a new year. Do you feel any different? Are you elevated? The only way you would be if you've been meditating and watching what you eat, watching the negative energies around you and keeping yourself away from them, quarantining yourself from all things negative and all things that are not going to bring you to a higher level. So it's a funny thing. We have this C-19 running around. They're projecting it. I don't feel that it's authentic. And you know how I feel about that. And we are reacting to that instead of reacting to what we need to react to from the inside to know that, hey, today is a day that I don't need to waste. We are running away from what they project to be reality, but your reality you have nothing to do with, because many of us feel hopeless. Many of us feel that we don't have a say-so in how our life begins and continues on, begins from this particular day. I mean, I know when you're born, pretty much you're in the hands of parents, loved ones, extended family. Someone took care of you to get you to this point. That's not what I'm saying. But why don't we get excited about January 2nd, January 3rd, January 4th? Because there's a depression that I see. I don't mean an extreme depression where somebody has to take medication, but there's an extreme depression that I see many people, some get into and some mildly get into, or just feeling down because it's like a big letdown. They went to all the parties. They drank all the liquor. They had this thing called a good time, but it did nothing for them. You see, they make these projections that just by being around into this new time, that it's going to make a big change for them overall. But you have to put effort and you have to have a plan. You just can't wait around and just get props just for being, okay, it's a new year, my life has just changed. What have you done from the prior year to make your life change? Right? We really shouldn't be even having this conversation, because I'm just putting these things out there for those who, may need a jump start in how they think. I know the so-called holiday season can be very depressing for some people also, because they may not have the cash they think they need to have a good time, which you don't need cash that way. They may not have the loved ones around them to enjoy, the ones who really love them, not the people who are in position as DNA sharers and just, okay, we're here, we were born under the same womb or have some kind of connection family-wise, and we really can't stand each other. I'm not talking about that, because those are the people that you want to get away from, right? I'm talking about the people who really love you. And some of us feel as though we don't have anybody who really loves us. Some of us have the feeling toward the end of the year and going into a new year, while everybody is on a superficial level talking about Happy New Year, that, they say they don't have anybody. But remember, you have yourself. And remember, there are a lot of people out here. How are you doing, brothers? There are a lot of folks out here who have bodies around them. Lots of people who feign love but don't love them at all, right? I mean, I don't have a very big family on my side of my family, as far as I have my parents. And there's a big disconnect because, like I said, when my mother had that big book with all distant family members all over the country, and her being in New York City and born in Virginia, raised in Columbus, Ohio, and coming to New York City, there are lots of cousins and uncles and aunts and nephews and different things that, back in those days, it's like, yeah, we'll get together, and you get together either at a wedding or a funeral, right? Maybe a family reunion here and there, but it was always next year, and I saw when that happened. So when my brother took that big address book, him being on crack, you know the story if you're on this channel, and sort of begging and hustling people for money before she passed away and after, I didn't have that book to reach out to anybody. I was doing my thing in New York City, I wasn't thinking about no cousin in Colorado or somebody in California, which I have family in most of those states, right? It's unfortunate because it's not like it's the Facebook era back then and I can connect. So I can say, like other people, well, I don't have anybody. I don't think of it that way. I've always been that person to know that whatever perception we have now that may be negative is just that cloud in front of the sun that will soon go away. It's that cloud in front of the sun that will soon go away. So on a cloudy day, you must know that the sun is still shining. And there are rays in that sun that are destined only for you from where you stand. They're waiting for you. When that cloud moves, sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes, it's really quick. But you have to understand that where we find ourselves, we're going to go through moods like that. We're going to have feelings put on us like that. And like I said, being the fact that we're on Facebook, social media, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, there are people out there who are strangers who are either lovers of us as far as admiring us and our spirit and the things we talk about, or who just can't stand us or almost hate us. That's a strong word, but there are people out there who are demented that way. There are people who come on to my videos even before they premiere and give it a thumbs down, or 3 seconds in, you see a thumbs down. It's like, wait a second, you're on point. You're really watching me. Thanks for the viewership. And thanks for the raw energy. You see, because that collective negative energy can bring you down or make you feel down. But what you have to do is become an energy converter machine, right? So raw energy, whether it's negative or positive, that comes to me, it's raw energy, right? Some may be negative, some may be positive, but I convert the negative energy into positive energy because I figure it out and understand where it's coming from. And I convert, or I don't have to convert the positive energy. That's free energy that you give me. Just a good thought, just a well wish, just something along those lines would do me so good. Right? And even if you can't stand me and think bad things about me and come on my videos and watch the videos, and if I went to this particular mall, you find yourself over there because you know about it now, and all those crazy games that the toxic people that won't be here 5 years from now, the games that they play, that's good energy for me also because it motivates me. You are honed in on me. And so when you have these people who are negative towards you and honed in on you and what you're doing and where you are and how you're doing, that's raw energy they're giving you. Thank you for the gift. Don't let it weigh you down. Just learn how to convert it from within, that they are focusing on you. See? And when I go through my analytics online and I have a couple of guys who could be pretty much called hackers, I see who's peeping and they can do things that YouTube won't allow. And I say, wow, look at this person here. They've been on my page 17 times a day, but you see them in the street and y'all don't speak. That's funny. You really love me. Thanks for the love. You must take it that way, right? But in this new year, again, we're going to have to, unless we're going to go into what they call 2022. And could you imagine what the world is going to be like then when so much has happened in less than a year? With the C-19 and the 5G towers and all of this other stuff going on, and possible food shortage and housing bubble collapse and people, homelessness all over the country in America. So I don't know what's going to be coming for this whole next year, this time next year, January 1st, 2022. I try to think in advance and really prepare myself for what may be coming, but you can't always really say what will be coming because there's no way of knowing what the wicked plan for us who are unknowing. So you have to roll with your spirit, no matter what. And this year, you're going to have to roll with your spirit because, like I said, we're going to be broadsided if we're not connected on a spiritual level. Broadsided and shocked and surprised, underestimating the evil that is out here in the world. So the only place that we can retreat to is going within ourselves, meditating, focusing, and thinking about what we're doing in the moment and being prophetic within ourselves to know what may come tomorrow. And that spirit will never leave you. Your ancestors will never leave you because they will gently guide you along. But the problem is most of us refuse to listen. We allow other voices in our ear. We allow other projections to become part of us, and we start to think in a way that we shouldn't be thinking. Look, if you are saved and a way in your path is made for you, what are you worried about? No matter how much the doomsayers around you may speak, right? They will say things on a negative level, but if your path is made, what are you worried about? So once you know that your path is made, that you are here for a righteous reason, you are putting out nothing but positive energy to the world, this universe is not going to want to get rid of you, no matter what your naysayers and opponents will say. You know that you have a work to do. And this is the way I feel doing what I do every single day, right? So I don't get into the head games that way. Sometimes physically I'm a little fatigued, as I have been these last few days, because I've been cracking the books and looking at tutorials and preparing things to be better for this day and tomorrow, right? There's always tomorrow, but I'm living in this moment right now. So I know that what I do right now is going to affect tomorrow. Will you find yourself in the same place when Happy New Year 2022 comes in? Will this be a wasted year, what they call a year, 365 days? Will you come into it in debt and leave out of it in a better place or out of debt? Will you come into it overweight and in poor health and leave out of it lighter in weight and in better health? Because remember, there are people who are a little heavier who are in good health and people who are slender and poor health. So it's not just a weight thing, but when you're lighter, it's usually better. Doesn't mean you have to lose 100 pounds. Maybe it's just 20. Right? Maybe you need to get rid of some of the people who are around you who kept you from reaching the goals that you had back in, 2020. And do you have 2020 vision from this year 2020 to move into the subsequent years and see clearly? Can you see clearly? Are your glass is still cloudy with the mud? Is your windshield still blocked up with the mud from 2020? Is there some cleaning that you have to do? I urge you today, do not bring the old stuff from 2020 into 2021. You should have taken care of that already. The way you think, the rhythms, try to break all of the rhythms that you naturally get into. If you have time on your hands and you can get so much done, why are you not getting it done? I find that when I don't have as much time on my hands, I know my time to get other things done are limited and I get more done. But I've trained myself now. It used to be that way. On the days that I was working, driving a bus or working in the jail or a prison, and I knew I only got these 3 hours to get stuff done, you appreciate it more when you have less. It's like women in makeup. More is less. Too much is overkill and it doesn't look good. So with most situations, less is, did I say more is less? Did I mess up? I mean, less is more. If I messed up, right? My mind is just flowing. Less is more. You don't need a whole lot of time if your mind is focused. Now, the trick is not falling into that trap where you say, oh, I have all the time in the world. I'll take my time and do this. No, when you have free days, treat it like you got that same 2 or 3 hours to get something done, because you'll laze around all day and waste it. All I'm trying to make you do or help you to understand is that we have this vast year, right, in front of us that's new. There's going to be things that we accomplish. There's going to be victories. There's going to be not defeats, but there's going to be misjudgments. There's going to be times we're going to have to go and take another road. I don't ever want to say that defeat word as far as I'm concerned. It's just a detour. So they're saying defeat, I've been detoured. Because I'm never defeated. And you're never defeated because you're still here and you're still in the game. You're still in the fight. So take that word defeat out of your vocabulary. You've been detoured, which means that you intended to go up one road and that road was blocked or something was wrong with your particular vehicle from within. I'm not calling you a car, but I speak this way. You know how I speak. And you're either going to have to, if you're overheated, sit there and get the antifreeze in there, some water, or take another route, take a cab, do whatever, but you've been detoured, never defeated. Sometimes detoured, never defeated. That's a t-shirt I'm going to make. Sometimes detoured, but never defeated. We have to understand the power of words. We have a lot of quacked out word doctors who they just change up everything to seem so brilliant. I understand the difference in vibrations with certain words, but if I'm speaking to somebody that doesn't know, I'm not going to sit here and come with all this cockamamie stuff, right? With those who know, or within my thoughts, I know how I accept things, because you have some people who can change around words and they want to be the authority and tell you all this stuff, but they're deadbeats in real life. So what good is that if you can't pay your damn bills? What good is that if you're a fugitive running away from a situation, but you want to pump up your chest and act like you're better than somebody else or put somebody else down? What good is that? Wordplay, but you can't back it up with action. I'd rather be an action person. I'd rather do and hone my craft and come out here every day, reach out to the people, do our interviews, enlighten and elevate people's minds, not because I'm so good, but because of the collective energy of all of us who get down on the LANCESCURV show. That's what it's all about. I got too much work to do to sit up here and put a false projection out. As a matter of fact, I want to be more efficient because I don't think I get enough done. That's the bottom line. When sleep starts to hit me, I'm like, oh man, I got to do this one more thing. The other night when Empress LG, we did one show, we did something. And I did something with Miko after. Before that, I was saying how I might rest, whatever. When Miko called me, I got all this energy because, you know, she puts it down. And I'm like, I'm not going to miss out on that. I don't care about no sleep now. I was a little fatigued, but I know for the mission. I know that the ears of many who love the nutrition that she shares through her experiences and her anecdotes and her open heart. I couldn't deny that. It's not about me. I'm the middleman. I'm the chef. No, I'm not the chef. She's the chef. I'm the waiter. Came out too fast, right? And you're sitting at the table. So she's the chef dishing it out. How am I going to just quit on a job now when we have people there who want to eat and who love that delicious meal of Miko, right? So my responsibility goes broad. And I know that the things that I do behind closed doors, behind the scenes, under the hood, making certain things work because I run multiple platforms under the name of LANCESCURV and SCURV Media. If I don't do those things, things won't work as good. If I don't answer back emails, you'll lose faith in me. You know what I mean? So there are things, by the time you see something or by the time there's a show going on, there's so many more hours of work that go into that, right? And I'm not going to harp on that, but my time must be used efficiently. Even my downtime, and I'm going to suggest that to you, even your downtime could be used constructively. You can go on and ponder what you're going to do with a particular project or new job or how you're going to take care of your child or, you know, research certain things. But, you know, take yourself maybe physically away from the home. Don't burn out the feeling in your home by always putting something, or this particular room or your bedroom you should not be thinking these things. I'm just going to throw these things out at you. You should maybe take a walk or sit down somewhere else where when you come home, home is home. Home is not a place where you're overburdened with these thoughts that, you know, could be something very important you have to think about. And maybe you can't go out. It might be pouring down rain and thunder and lightning. Of course you can't do that. But for the most part, take some time when you have a dilemma and go to another place outside of your home. It's just like, okay, if you have tools and you want to cut a piece of plywood, you're not going to take the plywood in the middle of your living room that's nice and clean with the couches and the rug and everything there and take the circular saw and go, you take that outside. Because after you cut the wood, you have sawdust all over the place, dust all over the place, things to clean up. So if your memory or your thoughts of your home is a place that is tense because you're thinking so much and, you know, go somewhere else, let the dust fly somewhere else. You know, that's really what I feel. Agree with me or not, but I want to hear your thoughts on this. That's the beauty of a hotel room. I ain't talking about that short stay, 4-hour, you know, that Love Shack type thing, right? I'm talking about when you travel and you go to a pretty good hotel. You know, it doesn't even have to be 5-star or whatever. But you traveled and you want to get that rest, and that hotel room has no energy in it. It does, but it's not any prior energy or memories in that place. You go, and if you're up high, you pull back the windows, you say, man, this is a nice view. You know everything's taken care of. You know, you're not going to be a slob, but if something happens, you know, I don't have to worry about this. You know, you have your plugs, you have your internet. And you say, okay, let's put all our stuff down. Let's take a walk if it's early. Let's get something to eat and come back. You feel free because it's a new place. Why can't your home be that same new place? That's what I'm talking about. Why can't your home be that same new place? So no matter what is going on in the outside world, and I just want to throw that, cultivate and work on your home, your private space, and protect it in this so-called new year. Because no matter what is going on in the outside world, you must protect the space of your home. And I say home, I don't just say house. It could be an apartment. It could be one room. It could be a shack. It could be a place under a tree. Whatever you call home. Like again, I say it again for the new subscribers. Home, womb. Home, womb. Home, womb. Right? It sounds the same. Your home is just like your mother's womb that fed you, nourished you, protected you, and kept you to the stage of development that you needed to get to before you came out. It strengthened you for the world. Why can't your home do that for you now that you are out of your mother's womb, but symbolically your home should be your womb to protect you, to nourish you, to store your stuff physically, to nourish you spiritually, to nourish you mentally, to protect you emotionally. In your home, you should be able, in this year going forward, if you didn't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know, right? that your home must be protected. You can't have people coming in and out of your home that don't like you, that have bad energy or resent you because your credit is good and theirs is not, or you have more finances or maybe a cash flow and they don't. You know, these people got all kind of weird ways. Instead of working on their lives to get it to where maybe you had to work to get your life to a certain point, they mad at you for putting in the work, right? So you can't have that come inside your home. Once where that property line is, yes, that's the physical. We don't own the earth, but the earth is ours to utilize while we're here. And just like you protect yourself physically in your body, that space that is yours must be protected on the spiritual level, because they will leave their bad energy there. Even if you leave and another family member says, oh, it's okay. Y'all don't like each other, but you can come on and walk all through the house. But when you come back in, you know that somebody's been there that shouldn't have been there. Which when you have a person like that who comes around, their destiny is worthy of death when they violate you like that. You see what I mean? Stay out means stay out. You know what I mean? Protect yourself at all times, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, on all levels in this year. Have more of yourself to yourself. Spend time with yourself. Stop letting things take you out of the present and into the future. Say, you know what? I plan all the time. 6 days out the week, I'm planning for the future. I'm anticipating and working hard toward it. But right now, today, I'm not thinking about the future. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm going to force myself to be in the moment in this new year of 2021. Be in the moment. You'll create a lot of moments like that in a day, in that day, that will undergird your future, and you'll find yourself in a better place. What's the point of being here on this particular day, and we're thinking about December 31st, and this is January 1st? What's the point in thinking about January 2nd, but we're here? Yeah, we have an eye for that. We know where we came from, but let's get busy now. Let's get busy now. Don't be fooled by the illusion of Happy New Year. And that's what we do. We get fooled by this illusion of Happy New Year. And after Happy New Year is gone, then well, maybe next year we'll try. Next year? Next hour? Next minute? Now? Because you can rattle off the years. Well, in so many years, I'm going to retire. How many people do we know that have marked off their life for 15, 20 years or less, and they say, on this particular day, I'm going to retire and I'm going to live the life. But that day never comes because they pass away and transition before the time to retire, right? Or they make this grand projection and they actually do retire and they feel happy and they go home and have a heart attack and all of that for nothing. So for me, it's a different approach. This is why I left America when I did. Some people on my job, well, you know, Lance, if you stay a few more years, you're going to get a little bit more money. Are you crazy? It's not worth my health. It's not worth the stress that people try to put on me, because I'm slippery with stress. You know, you throw something at me, I'm dodging, make it look easy and still get stuff done. I got to tell you a little quick story about that, how you can be efficient with your time. There was that video I did several years ago. Was it 2, 3, 4 years ago? I'm not sure what it was. But the actor who was at the Grammys or the Emmys, I don't follow these things, right? But he had a tuxedo dress on, a black man, right? A gay black man. And it was a tuxedo from the waist up and a dress from the waist down. And I know Judge Joe Brown is big on manhood, right? And how they attack black manhood and try to call it toxic manhood and all of this stuff. You know, because the agenda of the media and the Zionists and these so-called elites, you know, they want to emasculate, you know, black men, and black manhood is not acceptable. You better emasculate yourself if you want to do good in their world, right? So I had an idea with this story when it came out. I said to myself, now I was working now. I was working an 11-hour day, driving the bus. On one break, I saw this story come out and I said, man, timing is everything. I need to get this story out there quick. So I can go home and do it myself, but let me call Judge Joe Brown, right? So I gave him a text first. I always text him first. And then, you know, he texted me back. And I think we eventually called each other. And I told him, I said, listen, now this is to tell you what I will do to make something happen by utilizing what little time I may have. Now, I just want to jump forward and say this, that with our phones, when we drove the bus, you know, back in the day, we can talk. But when it became federal law that you can't do that, you know, that it's a hazard and everything, phones are a no-no. You couldn't even have your phone visible and on or off in front of the yellow line. And you know that you have to drive the bus, you're going to be in front of the yellow line. So that was a no-no. So how did I get around it? Was I going to have him, because he lives in Texas, right? He's an hour behind me, but it was still kind of late. It was after midnight, right? And I know that I saw him online too, and I said, okay, he's up. So what did I do to get a few words from Judge Joe Brown while I was at work? You have to always righteously scheme. I had 5 minutes before I had to pull that bus out, and I had just the same 5 minutes to load that bus up with the passengers who were waiting for me. But I wanted to get the recording of Judge Joe Brown. So I said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I only got 5 minutes to get this done. And I'm outside the bus talking while the people are going in and paying their money, and I'm looking. I said, what I want you to do is stay on the line. I'm going to hit the record button because I have a recording app on my phone. And I said, I want you, and I'm going to put that in my pocket, but I'm going to leave it on real low so I can hear when you hang it up. I'm not going to talk with you. I'm going to be on mute. But I want you to talk your heart out. If you want to talk for 5 hours, no problem. I'll just carry the phone on home. Whenever you're done, you're done. If you talk for 5 minutes, it's no problem. I just want to get your perspectives on the story. And so what happened? Well, he said, okay, let me know when you're ready. I hit the record button on the app, and I lowered the volume a little bit. I put it in my pocket, you know, in my shirt pocket, which was still kind of illegal, but you couldn't see it. You couldn't hear anything. This is after midnight, East Coast time, so what was anybody going to do? So that being said, I'm sitting here loading up passengers. I'm sitting behind the wheel of the bus. It came time to leave. I start driving. Judge Joe Brown is talking in this recording. He actually talked for about maybe 13 minutes because it was really jam-packed. He's not going to be, he's not a guy who's redundant and keeps on saying the same thing. And he's a professional speaker. He's a person who's had his own TV show for many years, right? So I told him, when you're done, you know, just hang up. You know, say whatever you have to say and parting and just wind it down and hang up. And that's what he did. And so I got to a bus stop with a bunch of people that were getting on. So I got off the bus too, and I hit the recorder off, and I saw that it was 13 minutes. As soon as I got home that night, I made my graphics for it. I went into my program and merged the audio with the graphics and little special effects and intros and outros and transitions and subscribe buttons and everything like that. I did that as soon as I got home. Took my shower, got something to eat, something light. I was going to record something more that night, and I put it in my program and let it render. Wouldn't you believe, in 30 minutes after getting in or finishing on the computer with the program, everything was ready. I uploaded it to YouTube. The rest is history. I think that immediately, quick, it got over 100,000 views. It's not about views, but it was really like, you know, a person who was well known, a celebrity, a person who has a lot to do with history. You know, he was involved in a Martin Luther King Jr. case and all of this stuff like that. So, you know, it was something. And this is what we have to do on another level also, because, and this is another topic, but I'm going to tie it into what I'm speaking about now. Okay, not to be gory, but there are many people who are listening to this, including myself. I'm talking and I'm listening, who may not be here next year, right? We have to consider that, right? So while we're here with each other, those who have valuable information to share, please share it. For those who have valuable information that they need to get, you may have an elder on the porch, all alone, feeling lonely. Find out what they like to eat. Go out and get it or prepare it. Bring it to them and sit down with them and talk to them. They're a walking, talking history book. And there's so much wisdom that these people have that we forget. We go, well, we're going to go watch a new Tyler Perry movie, or we're going to go down to the shop mall. There's a new store, and we leave all of this that can help us. And not only just help us, but we could happily extract this from them, and they'll be so glad to share it because it'll make them feel as though they have some kind of value. There's a lot of our elders out here don't feel as though they're valued enough. And this is what takes them out as fast as it does. Not that I'm saying as fast that they lived a long life, but they could have been here a little longer if they felt appreciated, if they felt valued. And this is why it's so very important for them to feel valued. She looked over here, and as soon as I put my hand up, she looked away real quick. I hate that. So now I got to keep looking, so when she looks back, I can wave at her and whatnot, you know? So that's the deal, right? Yeah, but we're going to be in that position one day. We're going to have things to offer and maybe sometimes not feel as valued as we should. I mean, and even in the present, many of us may feel that we're not valued, right? There's certain circles that I know of that I'm not looking for any props from them, but they don't value me at all, right? Okay, cool, it's no problem. And then I'll go to another circle of people who hardly know me, and they value me so much. So find the circles that value you and find yourself around them, because they're the ones who can gain from what you have to share. Because like they say, familiarity breeds contempt. When people are used to seeing you, they don't see what treasures and wealth that you have of information to share with them. Lots of them want to write you off because of their own low self-esteem. You don't have to be a victim of that. Pick and choose who you're around in 2021. You know, and make sure you're valued, and make sure you show that other people that are valuable to you, because sometimes we can tend to take them for granted because they're always there. And then when they're gone, now you want to cry. Then when they're gone, oh, I miss them, whatever. No. I don't have no time to cry, because I'm too much showing how much I value an individual right now in the present. So it's not even a question. You know, the funny part about it is when most people have someone that they say, I lost them. No, you didn't lose them. They transitioned. We will be going that way also, right? But when they feel they lost someone, now they want to cry. But in the daytime or in lifetime, they're showing you that I value everybody else over you. You're the one who's brilliant in this particular area of expertise, but this little yabba yabba down the block, I'm going to give them more respect, and I'm going to give them more props and just rub it in your face. But they'll be the biggest ones crying when you're gone. Isn't that something? And when people cry like that, it's not necessarily, okay, I'm not going to say it's justice, but I will a lot for the fact that we are human. We're going to miss the person. We're going to feel it that way. But most of the time, when you don't value somebody, you don't show them the love that they require and need, and that you should be giving them as they are giving you, and they are dead and gone, it's guilt making you cry. Not in 100% of the cases, but like I said, we miss them. That's the human nature part of it. That's the reason for most of the tears. But many and too much of those tears, it's guilt because you didn't do by them the way you should have, done them the way you should have done them. That's what it is. I'm guilty because, I miss them, I love them. Why did you tell them that when you're alive? Or when they were alive, right? So for me, it's going to be funny. You know, when I transition, and I face that every day, because every day brings me closer to that day. Other people are walking around like they're going to live forever. I know I'm not. I'm not being gory, but I have an appreciation for today, to know that one day I'm not going to be here, to know that I need to do what I need to do right now. I need to show love to the people that I need to show love to right now. If it's a person I don't get along with, I'm not going to shortchange myself and tolerate that. I'm going to say, listen, you are toxic, you are negative, get away from me, don't even come around me. That's love for me, right? So I'm not going to shortchange myself in any way. And even when I've had love when my parents passed away, sure, I cried, but it wasn't for any guilt. It was like the cutting of the umbilical cord on a spiritual level, on a physical level, that they have gone on to another level. And I have yet to go to that level. And there's things I have to do here in this journey, which is really moving really fast. I miss them. And I wake up sometime and from a dream where I'm laughing with them, we're doing something like we used to do growing up, and I wake up and the reality hits me like, wow, they're not here right now as far as me being able to look at them. But you know what? When I cry for them, when I wake up, they comfort me. They let me know it's going to be all right. Now, I've never heard a physical voice before, but I feel the power of when they do speak, soothing me around me. It's a different sense. We have 5 senses on this level. And to me, we potentially have more if we ascend and go higher through our meditations. And many who don't meditate or understand, they have 5 senses, but they don't even hardly use the 5 senses. They're not even here. You talk to them, they're like, huh? You know what I mean? Or they can't think right. They can't put things together. They can't think themselves out of a situation. You know what I mean? How you doing, man? All right. Yeah, they can't think themselves out of any situation. They're not thinkers. You know, they might be leeches and hustlers and deadbeats, but they're not real thinkers, you know? I know people who pride themselves on being bad men. I'm a bad man, you know? But they can't think their way to generate an income to take care of their family. You know what I mean? So when it comes time to cough up some money for something, I don't have the money, but you're a bad man. I think I'm a ruthless hustler. And I don't mean hustling people out of their stuff, but I think You know what I mean? So I don't have to say what I am. I execute it and show you what I am every single day in my life to keep my situation a certain way. You know, I don't have to go yabba yabbing off at the mouth like that. I'm going to show you every day, day in and day out. I know a guy who a couple of years ago, he says, Lance, I'm going to get into doing YouTube videos. I said, fine, I'll help you out. You know what you need to know. You know, I'll encourage you. Yeah, he was in like a little competition with me, right? So he was like, I'm going to do 3 videos a day. And back then I wasn't doing 3 videos a day because I had other things I was doing. And I was working, right? I said, cool. After like a day, I think he did 2 in one day and he never did it again. I don't have to project. You know, I'm going to let you know what the detailed plans are because I'm already in motion. It's not like I came here after like 5 months off of you never seeing me online and all of a sudden I come with these projections. No, you know I'm doing the damn thing. You know the reason why I wasn't around for that week on YouTube is because I was in YouTube prison, right? They didn't like that Stella, what's the name? Stella, what's the last name? I forgot. But the doctor who was speaking about the C19 and, you know, how to cure it and everything. And it's nothing big. She dealt with so many patients and they took it down. They don't like that. The World Health Organization, YouTube and all social media have certain people's names that are blacklisted. And as soon as something comes up that way, boom, they take that video down. And they're going to get more and more harsh with that. And that's why I did that video yesterday about being prepared to leave social media because, you know, we've given up so much. We talk about we want to keep our privacy, but we share all of our business on social media and the powers that be are monitoring these things, right? They know all about us. They know our text messages. They know those little voicemails that, you know, we send to our significant other or significant other. You know what I mean? All the dirt we doing, they know all about everything. Where we go, we're GPSed and low jacked and surveilled and I mean, everything. They can watch us through the camera. So if we're having intimate moments and a phone or several computers, they're just watching every stroke of what we're doing. I didn't say what it was. I said stroke. You know what I mean by that, right? So, you know, we just have to be very careful. You know, what we let into our mind, we have to build this righteous momentum in this year. You should have had it built already, y'all. But if you don't have it, don't waste this first day of this so-called new year indulging in something that's not going to bring you to a higher level of being valued later on. It doesn't matter who's around you, who doesn't value. You know your value. You know your worth. You must continue to know this and hone your craft and be a student of your game. Don't let this time thing distract you. Use it to your advantage. Just the moment that you have now, the time that you have now, like right now, I'm standing here with this tripod in front of me and this camera in front of me, and I'm talking to my family here, and I know the value and the power of these words at this moment. It may be where I won't be able to talk, or I may not be here on a certain level. I have to say what I have to say now sincerely. Talk to your loved ones. Talk to the people who will listen to you about whatever it is that you need to help them with to be a plus to them. Give them a nugget of knowledge, a morsel, a sweet nugget of a juicy tidbit of something that they can run with. It's not just a matter of just handing them a few dollars. Oh, yeah, little boy, come here, son, come here, daughter, here's a few dollars for your birthday. Sit down with them and talk to them and imprint their mind with something that they can use later on. Because all through my days, especially, well, my parents, of course, but especially my mother on certain spiritual levels. My father was spiritual, but he was like more of a macho kind of guy with it too, right? Very sensitive also, kind and giving and everything. But my mother had that female touch with what she was conveying to me on those levels. And a lot of her words come to me. When I take long walks or I just meditate or I'm doing something online and just deep in thought, her words come to me and they soothe me. And she knew what she was doing because that's how I know she's still with me. Because she had enough presence of mind to not be caught up at a particular time or say, oh, he's just a young kid, he's going to learn one day. No, she made sure I knew because she planted those seeds of greatness inside of me and spiritual awareness inside of me. So no matter what year it was, she didn't get caught up in, oh, it's only this year and he's too young. No. When you're young, you're a sponge. When you're young and you're a child, the world is new to you. You want to soak up everything. This is why we have all these crazy questions to ask you. Right? So feed it to us to the level that we can handle it, but know that you should even gauge that because whatever you think we can handle as youngsters, we can handle a little more because our engine is new. And you have a tremendous chance and opportunity to mold their mind righteously if you give it to them, the information they crave the right way. Because if you don't have their minds like you should first, you have first dibs. You have the first take on the minds of your children before they go out into that outside world. And the outside world, the schools, the media that will get into their head and help to mold them, most likely in something that you don't want to see in them, right? You have it first, and you have the right to put that foundation. You know, it's imperative, and it's a crime if you don't. Don't complain later on when they're living some kind of wayward lifestyle or involved in certain things that you don't approve of. And if you don't approve of it in them, you shouldn't be doing it also, right? If you don't want them to drink, why are you drinking? If you don't want them to smoke certain things they ain't supposed to smoke, why are you smoking? Lead by example. Before you have kids, have that talk with yourself. If you can't be damn near perfect example, none of us are perfect. But how sloppy can we be when, you know, we have daughters, but then you have all these so-called uncles coming in to your home 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, that was Uncle Larry, and that was Uncle Barry, and that was Uncle Larry, Gary, or, you know, Uncle Harry or whatever. Mommy, how many uncles I have, and how come they all come when I'm asleep? Mama, I got up in the middle of the night and I was going to call the ambulance because I thought you were in pain. And I peeked in the door and you were biting the pillow, and that man was stabbing you with something. What was that all about? I was going to call the police. I thought he was hurting you because it didn't sound like you were feeling good. But then we want them to turn, when they figured out what it is and they go do it, you get mad. You know, and this is why there are several people on this platform that listen. And we've had private talks, and I have the utmost respect for them because some of them are single mothers, right? But some of them know the deal. They're like, listen, I have feelings like anybody else, but guess what? I am not going to bring this man around my daughters or my daughter or my sons or my children. I'm not going to do it, right? So they say, hey, if it gets that bad and I have to do it, if I can go over his house or we can meet somewhere and do what we got to do, fine. But it's not going to be, I'm not even going to, if my kids were away for 2 weeks or a whole month, I'm not going to bring them in that house with that energy. You got to be careful of the physical space and the energy. And this is how, as I'm building right now, there are certain individuals who are not going to come past the property line of my home. Because I know what's up in their heart. Stay out, or it's going to be some physical problems. Trust me, it's going to be physical if you pass that line. And I mean that at this ripe old age. That's how much I want to protect my happiness and free-flowing good feeling where I live. And I go out into the outside world, I feel good the same way. It's big enough world for us that we don't have to be bothered with individuals that are toxic and got healing to do and don't want to do it, but want to dump off something else on you because they don't want to face themselves, because what you are reminds them of what they are not. It's what it is. I tell like it is, and I know I'm stepping on a lot of toes, but you know what? So be it. And that's another thing I want to tell you. Do not be afraid to step on people's toes. Not being rude or inconsiderate, but if they're in your way and they're not about what you're about, and you want to live this life that you know is righteous for you and progressive for you, but they're in your way, step on them toes. Matter of fact, get some steel tip boots and stomp their toes, because they're putting themselves in your life and putting themselves in your way, and they don't give a damn if you trip over their feet because they don't like what you're doing to be progressive in your life. So don't be afraid to step on toes in 2021. Steamroll them. Take a circular saw and keep it in front of you and cut them toes off. Cut them off. How dare you stand in my path and you know exactly where. It's like playing chicken. You a dude walking down the street and this next man looks at you and he don't like you. You can tell. And he's going to walk a straight line and you're going to walk a straight line, right? And you're walking a straight line because you saw him throwing that face at you first. You're like, hey, yeah, he's challenging me or something like that. Now, you might be in a mood where you just don't want to be involved in something. You say, okay, just go ahead. I'll move out your way. But there's sometimes some people could be just pricks and just, it's like, listen, let me tell you a little trick that I do. And Mr. SCURV always laughs at it. You see these people, especially these pink parasites, they size you up and they're walking. They have this way of walking like, I'm not moving out the way. So I'm walking and I'm not moving out the way either. At the last minute, you know what I do? I pick up my elbow like I'm rubbing my eye and let them run right into my elbow. When they come, I'm like this, boom. And they're like, what'd you do that for, dude? Well, didn't you see me wiping my eye? You could have walked around me. You walked into my elbow. And then when you do, sometimes nobody's looking, just put a little weight in that elbow. Christ, crying out loud, you're busting me in the eye. I could be cruel sometime. Did I ever do it? I plead the fifth. But I got testosterone too. I'm not like 99 years old. My testosterone is still in my bloodstream. I have aggression. I am a man. I'm an alpha male. That's not high on myself. I'm a humble alpha male. I don't even like to be called that, you know. There are aspects of me that are not aggressive in that traditional thing, but I can be aggressive still too. So don't play me like that, because I'll bust you in your mouth just as fast as anybody else, but righteously do so that when I bust you in your mouth symbolically, whether I have to do it or not physically, but when I do it symbolically, you be like, he busted me in the mouth, but I deserved it. He warned me. He told me about it. He said, don't cross that line. Okay. I put it out there to the universe, right? But otherwise, this life is a wonderful, beautiful life. Look at the birds flying and the clouds in the sky and, you know, the plants and the anthill, and just look around you and see. And you see these different herbs and different things growing and swaying in the wind, and the beautiful red dirt. And I'm not in America no more, so I don't have to complain about what I go through. I talk about it just so I can help other people out who have dilemmas, because I've been through it. I've been through the worst of the worst in America. I'm still here. I'm still alive. And I want you to understand that no matter what you go through or what you've gone through in years prior or last year or this upcoming year, you're not defeated. If you don't get anything from this particular video, just understand that never defeated, only detoured. You just detoured for a second, but the reality that's waiting for you, the reality that is there for you, that you project in the universe, feels as though they owe you. People say, well, nobody owes me nothing. No, listen, let me tell you something. You work on a job and you're supposed to get paid every 2 weeks, and 2 months go by and you haven't gotten paid. You got 4 checks waiting for you. That job owes you. So with the universe, if you're doing the righteous work, things pile up in your favor, right? Especially when you're one who executes more good than bad. It doesn't mean one deed of good and one deed of bad, because certain deeds are so huge. I murdered 10 people last year, but I helped the old lady across the street, so we're kind of even. No, I don't think so, right? But when you are that person who, in your awareness, strives to be that good person and do good things and bring good energy and be a plus, the universe is going to accumulate tax returns for you and pay you back. You'll never want for something or need something and it won't come. Maybe all your wants may not come. And a lot of your wants will come, because that's your reward. To have that cream on top, you know? To have the cream on top, your cup runneth over, you know? I keep waving. She looks in, she's doing something in her yard, right? I might walk over there and talk to her after this video, because I never really talk to her. She's always passing by and I say nice things, whatever. That's a nice big house they built over there too. Nice huge yard. It's like probably on like 3 acres or something. It's a 3-story mini mansion. Beautiful place. And there's still more exterior work that needs to be done. But, you know, it's like I said, people take their time and work on their homes. They build it solid, functional, and they take time and embellish it. Instead of sitting here and always paying somebody for a mortgage that never ends, they own it free and clear. And as they get their money, they do, with no stress. And to me, that's the African way, our Kebulan way, right? That's the mentality we need to get back into. And again, the last thing I'll say is really that we need to get away from Eurocentric thinking. We've been indoctrinated and brought up in this thing to where we think we are that, and it works against us, even though some of us have worked it and done well. I mean, who's to say? If you're racing grown people and you're in a race, a foot race, and they're faster than you, they might beat you, right? But if I cut one of your legs off and you're in that foot race against toddlers who've barely learned to run, you can hop on one leg and beat them in a foot race. And that is not a feet race, it's a foot race then when you have one leg. But it's all relative. So, you know, you're never defeated. You're only detoured. And things are relative. What you may think is a defeat now is just something that later on it's like, I can pick my teeth with this because I've been through this already, you know. So there's certain situations that we don't want to go through again, the loss of a loved one, although that's inevitable, whether it's us or someone else. But the sting is reduced when you've been through it, because you know what it entails and you become very philosophical as to how and what this life is and what it means. And so that's where I am right now. And I truly want to say to my universe, to the creator who made me, I'm truly appreciative of what you've given me. There are a lot of things that hurt me right now in this life. There are a lot of things I don't understand through how I'm treated. But you know what? I'm looking at the good. I'm here. And in that, even if I have a pebble in my shoe, I'm going to enjoy the scenic walk with my friends. And that pebble in my shoe might bring me a little pain. But you know what? That's not going to take me away from looking around and saying, man, these are beautiful mountains. This beautiful scenery. Look at the beautiful wild animals, which are not really wild. We're the ones who are wild. That's why they bite us, because they know we're wild, right? But never let those things take you away from the beautiful scenery and scenarios around you. And for that, I'm truly appreciative of that. And I'm not going to let the naysayers rob me of that joy. Let me just make sure my audio's right so I don't rob you of the words and it sounds like... But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to record something else when I get in. That will be up tomorrow or up later on. But like I say, I don't like to say it, but Happy New Year 2021. Let's get away from the whole artificial time thing. Let's live in the now. Let's walk tall, and let's know that no matter what happens this year, we're never defeated. We're just detoured. That's all, you know. And if we hold on to these simple thoughts and live by these powerful words, we will be all right. Don't let your mind get too complicated. Don't let people get in your head with all kind of foolishness that really won't be worth it so many years from now. You know what I mean? Because bottom line, either you'll be looking at them go down to the ground, they're going to be looking at you go down to the ground, and they're going to live their life, and they're not even thinking about you. So you have to have that mentality right now where I'm alive, and I want to absorb as much light, life, sunlight, wise words, good vibrations, and give to the good people who may need me. There are people that I want to talk to on the phone and encourage. It has nothing to do with YouTube. It has something to do with my walk and my walk with my Creator and why I'm here. This is just a leverage. This is just a tool to connect with those who will be with me years from now and until and even on the next level. When you're panning for gold, you know, back in the day when they said, go west, young man, go west. And there's all this gold in California. And they were taking these pans that had little holes in the bottom of it. And they stick it in the mud and they shake it a little bit. And they see a little bit of gold glistening, right? Well, when they shook it, they had to shake out all that mud, right? And the mud represent the people that not are really for you or just not meant to be in your life. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right? It just, they may not be for you. But those nuggets of gold is what I'm going to hold on to and what I'm going to invest in. That's the bottom line. You know, those who mean something to me and I mean something to them, you know, that's who you vibe with. That's how you build. That's how you become synergistic in your positivity. But if you're constantly trying to pull somebody who's not motivated, let's open up this restaurant. Let's open up this night spot. Let's get some property somewhere else. And you're like, wow, I'm saying all this positive stuff. And it's like I'm trying to drag a mule who doesn't want to go and do anything. But the minute somebody else cockamamie comes outside and says something, oh, you know we should be doing it. Oh, really? We'll go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Don't let nobody pull you out of your destiny. Because we have so many people out here who they talk a good talk in front of anybody else, but day in and day out, they're not doing it. They're doing the same repetitious things. How are you going to have a different result when you do the same repetitious things? There was a lady who lived in my neighborhood. I won't say what her name was. She has a daughter she has a granddaughter who's about a few years younger than me. So I won't say, maybe she watches these shows. But every day, usually in the warm weather, you know, cold weather, grass doesn't grow. But she'd come outside and there was a little patch, maybe 8 feet on this side, 8 feet on that side, 8 feet square, 2 squares, because there was one here, there's a walkway to the curb, there's a driveway there, so 8 feet, 8 by 8, 64 square feet, 128 square feet total. She worshiped that same 128 square feet, the two 8 by 8 areas, meaning she ran the lawnmower over it, the kind you push, and then she fertilized, every day now, right? Then she watered it. And then she took time, and if anybody dropped anything, and then like she would sit in the doorway about an hour after. If there's a little kid who had a candy bar and he ripped off a piece of paper and spit it out, before it hit the ground, she's trying to, hey, pick that up. And they usually run. And so she's mad picking it up. That those two little patches of grass dominated her life and held her in a state of suspended animation. And I think it's very sad that that happened. Because think of the books that she could have read. Think of the businesses that she could have started. Think of the people she maybe had some kind of knowledge that she could have shared. But she was stuck in a cycle of cutting that grass and never moving beyond that. I know people like that. Some people, they go out in the yard or they go out in the street and they wash their car every day and polish it down. And the car looks good now. They keep the car nice, but it's not really their love for the car being so clean. These people are running away from something in the back of their mind, so they have to do something. They're pushed to do something really great. Not that they're thinking this, but that validates them. There are many people who have started businesses and made lots of money and viewed as a success to the world, but it's not as though they're going to give you advice on success. They can say the same things, discipline, hard work, consistency, all those different things that we know. But what gave them the push and the power was that they were running away from something. So their success is not really heartfelt or something that they embrace. Again, one more analogy, and I'm going, I've said this one before. Old guy sitting on the steps or sitting in a rocking chair on his front porch. A couple of houses around him, next door neighbors and stuff. No fences, just open yards. There's a lake across the street, and the next door neighbor is running so fast in front of this old man and jumps in the lake. And so after a while, and when he's running, he's screaming. So the old man can't understand why he's screaming. Maybe because he's trying to be more intense and set a record or something. Maybe he's in the track. He doesn't know. So when the man comes back like out of the lake, the old man says, well, listen, I don't know what made you run in the lake, man, but you're such a fast runner. You probably need to be in the Olympics because, man, I commend you. You're probably training for that or something, but you run really fast. I never saw somebody run so fast like that before in my life. Well, the old man's sight was not too good, and the old man didn't see that he was on fire. He had fire on him. Maybe he was out there with the grill or something, and the gasoline spilled over or something spilled, grease spilled on him, and he caught on fire, whatever it may be, right? But he ran, and he ran faster than anybody in the whole world. So can we ask him tips on how to run fast? Because he doesn't know. He was reacting to the pain of that fire. I'm going to leave it at that. I think I talked enough. Anyway, much love to my sisters and salute to my warrior brothers. It's about the black family. It's about healing us as melanated people in this world from all the stuff that we've had to endure. It's about showing love to each other and building the black infrastructure. And I say it that way boldly because I am not afraid to say that we need to build each other up as black people in the world. Melanated people, stolen Africans, whether you're born in Africa, Al-Kebulan, or in the diaspora, it's all about us building up because we are usually on the bottom of the totem pole and we're attacked viciously because of the greatness that we don't even realize that we have. So know that I love you, and I hate to say Happy New Year, but I'm going to say it to you. Let's not use that term and brainwash ourselves. Let's go ahead now and move forward and make sure that every single day of our life is the new year for the rest of our life, and we go at it with that type of intensity. LANCESCURV out. Much love to you. I'm going to talk to my friends here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow or later on. Peace. Much love.